Hey everyone, welcome to Devlog number 2 of the gear game that I'm making. So I've reached a bit far from previous video. In previous video, we managed to rotate this gear to our pointer location. And in this video so far, I have came to make this green gear follow the blue gear. And as you can see, the rotation is bit smoothed out because I changed the offset value a little bit. And as you can see, I can even click on the green gear and it rotates the blue gear, and the way I'm doing that is with the help of two scripts. So the driver gear is the script which makes sure that gear follows my cursor whichever gear I'm clicking, and the driven script, as you can see, is disabled on the blue gear. As you can see, it's because it is right now not driven. So the gear which I'm clicking on and rotating will be called as driver gear, and the one which gets rotated will be called as driven gear. So what I'm doing here is the driven gear makes sure that my gear rotates respective to the gear that I'm connecting. So in the 36th, if I click on over here, as you can see, the driver gear scripts gets enabled and the driven gear scripts gets disabled. And as you can see, in the blue gear, the driven gear is on as I click on the green gear. So let me show you how I did that. So here in the parent object, I've made this script in which I go through all the children objects in my this gear empty. So this script is on gear, so its children will go from 0 to 1, and this for loop goes from first to last, and I think it is less than. That's why it will require the input to be 2. Okay, that's why the output is 1 over here. So after the for loop, this for loops make sure that I go through all the children, and then I get those children and I check if those children have this script machine component, and then I get the zeroth item, which is the first one. Now the zeroth script will be the one which is on the top in the hierarchy. So in this case, that is gear visual. No, wait. In that case, let me just click on the lock so that this script doesn't change. So in this case, it will be the driver gear. And the thing is, if the gear which I am clicked on, so suppose that I click on the blue gear, then this boolean will turn true because it is my selected gear. And currently, suppose that my first iteration is over this 20, so this will turn true, and then it will go into the set enabled. So what I'm doing is, the one which I click, I want my driver gear to be the true. That's why I'm plugging this into the true, and then I want exact opposite to the done to the next script, which is driven gear. So I'm just using the negate channel. So whatever, if this is true, then obviously the second script is going to be false. That's why I'm plugging the false over there. And as you can see from the list, I have took the zeroth script, which is the driver, and over here I have took the one script, the one position, which is the driven script, and in that way I'm disabling and enabling my gears. So this is it so far, and in the next video I will show you how I'm going to instantiate this gear. So if I click on this blue button, you can see I get my this smaller gear, and it only gets through the base and not on the gears, because and I'm doing that with a boolean check. If it's a gear, then don't spawn or something like that. I'll just make it go away once my mouse starts moving. I might do that, but for now there is no instantiation. It's just this so far that I can select between two gears, and I am setting the position. As you can see over here in visual gear enabling, when I press the first panel, blue panel, then it will take the from over here, this gear visual, this is a object variable that I made, and then I'm taking its first child, which is this 20 visual, and then I will set it true and other one false, and that's it. That's how it's working. And then over here in the setting visual gear position, on the update method, I'm taking the gear visual, this whole thing, and then I'm taking its child count. So this part over here, exactly what it's doing is going through all the children, and then that children I'm taking the name, and if that is the one that I've chosen, which is blue one, um, then what it will do is it will turn true. So as you can see, the 36th visual, that's the one that I chose. So if it is equal, and if it is a gear, okay, why did I put this boolean over here? Oh, okay. Okay, I think I got it why I put that is gear over there. So as you can see, if I hover my mouse on this gear, the visual thing stops. It is not getting on top of the gear. It will only be on the base. And as you can see, if I zoom in, if it turns false and it stops right away, or else if both the conditions are true, I'm setting it to my pointer position, which is done in the raycast, and I'm setting the position of the selected gear. Okay, so that's done. Let me also show you what I did to the raycast and the gear. Okay, I made some changes to that. So here I'm shooting a ray from the camera, and from the physics I'm taking it. So in the raycast, first thing I'm capturing is the pointer position on the 3D game objects, and then I'm selecting the gear, which is obviously going to change depending upon which gear I am. As you can see, it is changing dynamically from 20 to 36. It's also taking into consideration the base because it has a collider, and I'm checking if the transform is gear. So if my transform is a gear, then this is gear will turn true. Now I have given tag to this game objects. As you can see, they are tagged as gear, so it gives me that. And one thing I've made change to is the driver gear and driven gear script. So first thing that I would like to show is driver gear. Now in the driver gear, which is the one that I'm clicking and rotating, I decreased this value over here, which determines how fast my gear will rotate towards my mouse. So before it was 80, and it was stuttering like this, but it was not stuttering on the smaller gear. I don't know why it is happening, but I think it has to do something with the speed. So I'll just make this 20, and now it is working smooth. I could have also multiplied it with the delta time, so but I'll just keep it like this for now. And the next thing is the pointer position. It is all the same. Yeah, I replaced the get right with get forward because of the offset value in the driven gear, which I will show you later. And then I have added this grot variable. It is a scene variable. So before it was directly connected like this, so this multiply value was directly connected into the y channel, but I have introduced a variable which will now get added. So as you can see, this grot will get added to itself with a specific value, and as you can see, once it has rotated to a certain amount, this value returns, this dot product returns to 0. I mean, so if I click over here and move it over here, so until it moves over there, the value will have a very lerping value, so it will decrease by the time. And that's it. So that I'm adding and into its own, and then that grot is again set it into the rotation of whatever the script is sitting on. Okay, I think I've also added is gear. Now the reason why I added this boolean over here is because when I click on the base, the base starts rotating too. So to prevent that, I have to make sure that it is not a gear. I mean it is a gear so that it doesn't rotate. Okay, so that is done, and let me show you the reason why I made change this to the get forward instead of get right. Okay, so in the driven gear, we have the same G rotation over here, and then I'm dividing it with the collided gear. Now what is collided gear? So it is a graph variable which is specific to this graph only. So if this graph is on another object, this value will be different for each graph, which is very handy. So over here, as you can see in the driven gear script, I have this on collision stay, and then I'm taking the collider which I'm colliding with, and then I'm checking if that is not the base because it also has a collider, and if it's not, then the only thing that is colliding with will be the adjacent gear. Now the string has I've cleverly made this gear have its own teeth number. So these are number of teeth on those gears. So this gear has 36 teeth and the smaller gear has 20 number of teeth. So the 36 number teeth gets parsed and get converted into float, and that value is now in the collided gear. Now why do we need this value? Because as you can see, this gear, the blue one, will rotate a bit slower than the green one, and the green one will rotate I mean in the reference with each other. They have variable speed. So to make that variable speed calculation, all I have to do is divide number of teeth with each other. So on the blue gear it is 1.8, and for the green gear it is, wait a minute, I have to click on over there, and for the green gear it is 0.56. So this is calculated by the collided gear, so the opposite gear divided by our own teeth number, and once you divide that, all you have to do is multiply it with the rotation value that is common in between both. Now the reason why I used forward is because of this add. So what this add is doing over here, we cannot pan, that is really sad. So what this over here I'm doing is, let me zoom in, or let me just show you this in the scene. This is really pathetic that you cannot zoom in over there, or I guess I just don't know what shortcut is. So as you can see, if I click on the blue gear and rotate it a little bit, you can see that there is a little bit gap between those gears. Now if I make this 0, you can see those gears are overlapping. Now I think this is mainly because of the way I exported this fbx file, but it might not be the exporting error. So for that I just added a variable, add variable, and then if I add minus 1.8, so it just get compensated to that gap over there, that overlapping that I was facing. So I think that's it. By the way, one more thing, you can actually invert the rotation, so you don't have to multiply it by minus 1 over here. Instead you can just uh, invert the quaternion. See, inverse rotate, if you just plug that over there, it will still invert the rotation, so I don't have to use this negative value. um, but as you can see, it comes with its own set of issues, I guess you can say that. It's working fine with this. It's only a problem with this green gear, so I'll just keep it the way it is. But that's one of the option that you can use if you didn't know. So I guess that's it. In the next video I will make the spawning of the gears with each other. Thank you so much for watching. I really need your support, so please subscribe, like, and share if you enjoyed this game dev log video. I've never really done it, this is my first time doing it. uh, So this is the second devlog of the gear game that I am making. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed and learned something new. So I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.